Hey YouTubers, Seth here, and today I'm bringing you a new video, and this one covers the best armors that adventurers have access to. Now, for the sake of this video, I will not be including any permanent or temporary rares or package items or anything of that sort because adventurers usually don't have access to them. And shout out to Jim Body who originally recommended this video. Starting off, we start with fire, and it is Overlord's Dynasty. This is, of course, the revamp of the Rain armor, which was one of the original Ubers in this game. And despite the fact that it's been 4 years since it came out, it's still the top fire armor in this game. Without spending any money. I mean, you can get something like Champion of Terrasol or Acrolot or some others, but this one still beats them in terms of pure damage because of its Mastercraft bonus, which goes solely into celerity, which enables you to attack twice in one turn. So it looks great. It takes less damage, 25% less compared to conventional fire armors on the new lean, and well, what's not to love? It looks great, in fact. Moving on to water and earth. Now, in case of earth, I'd flat out recommend you go for Morningstar Bloodline, which is the level 135 version. Based on Castlevania, but because adventurers have compression issues, I've gone for this one. Now, Wargrider is a reward from the most recent war that we've had, that is the Seeker's War, and right now you can access it from the today's event page, and it should be moving out in a couple of weeks' time from when this video is made. Now, what makes this armor so special is, despite the fact that it's actually just an earth armor, it's got secondaries to ice and water at 46% each, which is decent enough and is better than what adventurers have access to. And the fact that it's fully offensive is a bonus, of course. It's not mastercrafted, so don't expect any fancy effects or skills or the like. And its one hit can be an issue against dodgy monsters, but using Layard's Misk or Pendant of the Gallon or something of that sort, basically any miss that gives you bonus accuracy, the one hit shouldn't really be an issue. Now, it also compresses ice, but considering we've already got an ice armor in this list, I've decided to just have two elements covered by this armor. Now, this should serve you as a decent replacement until you can get Wheel during the Burp War. That should be around in a couple of weeks' time when Thanksgiving comes around, which is usually mid-November, in case for those of you who don't know and don't stay in the US like me. Regardless, it's good armor, it looks decent. You're riding some sort of demon dog, I suppose. I don't really know what that is, but it reminds me of one of those hounds in Lord of the Rings. Now, coming back to the arm itself, it's not, as I mentioned, it's not a Mastercraft bonus. It doesn't have a Mastercraft bonus, so don't expect anything out of it. And do keep in mind that the damage you're seeing is similar to what you will be dealing because I'm using the level 135 versions of these armors. So the damage you see is similar to what you will be dealing while using them. Now, moving on to the next, we've got ice. Okay, I think, and similar to fire, this is also an armor that's about 4 years old at this point. It is Horosho Void Vigilante. Now, it's got godly combat defenses. I love that, and while it's got pointless resistances aside from ice at 41%, it still takes less damage compared to conventional ice armors, and I am omitting the recent Mastercrafts because it's not really that good. And the main bonus of this set, this armor in particular, is the fact that it's got one of the strongest skills in the game. Plus, using those combat defenses coupled with its normal shield, you should be healing quite a bit of SP and dealing backlash damage every turn. Moving on to energy. Now, this is it's my personal opinion, but I think it's worth a shot, and that is Taldoujin. Now, it's not really a great armor in terms of looks, and the fact that it's got a variable attack pattern means I mean, it's not going to be high on people's lists, but it's definitely worth the effort, and sometimes can deal quite a bit of damage, and the skill is just amazing. In fact, I do use this skill while I'm warring, especially now and then during Frost War, where you have monsters that are weak to energy. So this is definitely worth picking up, and well, that's all I can say about it. Now, moving on, we've got Wind, and this is the armor I don't like, to be personally honest. It's the weakest of the lot, and it is Horde IO, which came out a couple of years ago, 2 years I think. Locations, of course, already on screen, and what makes this armor so cringeworthy is, I mean, it's one hit, and I cannot beat the Wind essence with it, which is a pain. And the fact that it's one hit somehow, its Massacre bonus goes on Trumper, which are really rare monsters, so it's almost a wasted Mastercraft bonus. And aside from that, the green and the pixie theme doesn't really appeal to me, but it's the only wind armor that Guardians or Adventurers have, unless they miss. If of course this is if they missed out on Tyranno Chicken from April's Fools, or don't have Lord of the Skies or Aeronauts Might from the packages. But until you get your hands on one of those armors, this is what you're going to have to deal with. And to be fairly honest, I'd rather use No Drop or some sort of something out of Yulgars in place of this, because it's a lot more consistent. There's some items that one hit can work on, but wind armors usually are like they dodge a lot, so wind in this case a one hit isn't really one of its strong points. Now moving on to light and darkness, I don't think it's really a surprise if you consider it. This was in my list one of the best armors that came out a couple of years ago, and it's still one of the best, and it is Ultimon. Now, it's quite hard to get it in case you don't have a proper setup, but it's definitely worth it because you can cover both light, darkness, and shadows, who attack with both elements at the same time. And what makes this armor especially great is that it also compresses a skill, which is a rarity, and it looks great, although the placement of the shields is just a problem at times. But if you can get aside from that, it's a great armor, and you really won't have any problems with it. Of course, you could go for a specialized light resistance in Vakaya of Osiris, but the issue is, of course, darkness armors don't exist in the game unless you have rares or something of that sort. Regardless, it's what I'd call the perfect compression armor, and I hope to see more of these in the game, especially considering it looks pretty decent. Now moving on, there are few armors that just didn't make this list because they were outshadowed. Like I said, Morningstar, because adventurers need compression. There's there's the Vakia of Osiris, and Chimeran among others, and of course Knight, which is the underwater armor, which is better in fact, but sadly you cannot equip it on the turn itself. Anyway, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you all next time. Cheers.